Hello, and welcome to Cooking with the Wooden Spoon. Today we are making what I like to call a no big deal dessert. Certainly, we make some pretty fun big deal desserts. Like, I can't wait to share with you our copycat Dairy Queen ice cream cake. It is so good, but it is a lot of work. Today's recipe is so easy. I am excited to show you that you can do this recipe for one, or you could do this recipe for 100, however many you're cooking for. Uh, this is probably my go to healthy ish dessert. I like to have, I don't know, not really low fat desserts on hand. This can be, I guess I should say, as rich or as healthy as you want. Today we are going to make it a little more on the healthy side. Matt and I just got back from a fantastic trip out west. But as you know, when you get back from a trip, you got to get yourself back in order with your eating. And this recipe will definitely help us do that. I like to have little sweet treats on hand. Matt is a huge sweet tooth guy, and I would rather have cheese, honestly, than anything sugar. But I appreciate that he likes sugar, so I want to make a little treat for him. So you can make this. We will be making it two ways. You can make it in a casserole dish, which we will be doing, or I also like to make it in little ramekin sized dishes. You can just pull this out and eat it and not feel guilty and not have to worry about portion control because the portion is already controlled. So I'm excited to show you how we can do a dessert for one. There are many times that uh, I did this dessert for one or two. There are definitely many times that I did this dessert for 30 or 40, but it translates well into whatever you need. So we really actually don't even need many ingredients. I always make this with apple pie spice from Penzey's. I don't know if I could eat this without apple pie spice because this spice really is just it's fall in a spice, which is awesome. So we will need apple pie spice, cinnamon, whatever fall spices you like. I love cinnamon apple pie spice. We will also need oats. I don't use quick oats in this. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I typically don't, but if that's all I have, then I have made it with quick oats. But I find that if you use regular old fashioned oats, then the oat maintains its texture and its shape. I like, so Matt eats this for the apples and I eat this for the oats. So I like to be able to have that crunch of oat. Um, we need those. We need butter and apples and either brown sugar or white sugar. So most of these are things that I always have around. So that's why my kids can attest. This is one of the two most served desserts that I do. I like this, and I love homemade brownies, and we will be doing brownies from scratch later too. So stay tuned for that. The hardest part of this recipe is peeling the apples, and that's not that difficult. So we will do two, four, six, eight. We're doing 9 apples because I have 9 apples. I've done this with, 30 apples. I've done this with 1 apple. It's actually a great way to use up apples if you have some that need to be used before they go bad. So one thing that I like to do is put the apple bag on a bowl so that I can just put the peels in here, and then at the end I can just pick this up and throw it away. Easy peasy. So we will go ahead and get these peeled, and then we'll come back together. We are all peeled. That didn't take long at all. My suggestion for slicing is to try to get your pieces to all be just about the same size, same width, so that they cook evenly. If you have your thicknesses about the same, then you won't have some apples that are done more and some that are crunchy. I do it about this thick, and I do keep all of the pieces in large slices like this because I really like the burst of apple flavor that you get. I wish I had local apples, but these are just from Aldi. My favorite apple to use in apple crisp is a honey crisp, but my kid's favorite in this apple crisp is a Granny Smith apple. All apple pies and all apple crisp growing up had to be Granny Smith apples because they really like that tart, sweet apple flavor. I'm more of a sweet than tart for most things. So I really like the Pink Lady variety is what I have, and I really like Honeycrisp in this. Make sure so as you can see, I wasn't super careful when I peeled the apples because I don't mind having a little bit of skin on my apples. Bo likes the apple skin. We've had many bunnies over the years who have benefited from apple skins as well. They really like the apple skins. They are delicious. So I will be doing this in a couple of different dishes because I really want you to see how easy it is to make this as a single recipe. So, and you can control the health content of this with the butter. Apples themselves are healthy. The oats is so good for you, but the butter in the recipe is not. So I will use in ours, I will use a little less butter. And in order to make it combine together well, I'm actually going to add a little bit of water because that way it holds its shape, but the apples get to be the flavor, the star of the apple crisp and not the butter. I love butter, don't get me wrong. I would love to have sticks of butter in this, but we are trying to eat healthy. So I like that this recipe can be however you want it. One thing I am curious about, so coming from Western Pennsylvania, apple crisp was at most potluck dinners and a lot of funeral dinners. They had apple crisp. I'm fascinated by region specific foods. So if you are not from Western Pennsylvania, I would love to know, is apple crisp a thing? Apple crisp with oatmeal? Is that a thing where you are? Because it really is a thing where I was from. I do think one of the beautiful things about being in Wisconsin right now, I think this is our third fall in Wisconsin, I think. I love the different flavors that just shine in different seasons here. The market culture here just makes a foodie like me very happy. So it's so awesome to go to the markets at different points in harvest season and see what is abounding. So right now, apples are plentiful at the markets in the driftless region in Wisconsin. So that's pretty exciting for me. Going to Wyoming a couple of weeks ago, a couple of days ago, you can tell I'm tired. Oh my goodness. A couple of days ago, we actually just got back last night. Um, but going there was actually pretty interesting because before I went, of course, I Googled what are region specific foods to Wyoming, and they didn't have a lot. That was very interesting to me. So there's Chugwater chili, um, which I did pick up the spices for Chugwater chili. We'll be making that together. And then the only other two other things of note from Wyoming. They were big in huckleberries. I've never had a huckleberry. And ironically, Brianna from the farm store that I always talk about, Beekert Dairy, she actually gave us some huckleberries right before we left for our trip, and I popped them into the freezer. And so I'm really excited together to make something with huckleberries. If you have any suggestions on what to do with huckleberries, I'm open to it. I have a couple ideas myself, but I am open to what to do with huckleberries. When we went to Wyoming, the Wyoming specific, the touristy stores, they all had huckleberry things, and that just surprised me. So we did get some huckleberry things that I am excited about. But I'm excited to make things together. So the last thing that was on the list of Wyoming foods was bison and antelope and things like that. We did get some antelope meat, so we'll be making some pretty cool stuff with that. Um, John actually he harvested the antelope, and it will be very special to make stuff with the antelope meat, knowing that John is the one that got it. It was so nice of him to share because, I mean, that's a sacrifice. So we have all the apples for our apple crisp that will go in here. And now we are going to have some apples for our tiny apple crisp. I may have over appled the tiny apple crisp, but we'll find out. So, one little trick that I do, I really love to taste test, and you should taste test as you cook things, but I might be a little bit of an over taster. So I always try to have something healthy when I'm making something so that when I get hungry, which I am right now, I can just have a healthy option. And not eat all of the apples once I put the sugar on them. This is a yogurt from Beekert Dairy. This yogurt is unbelievable. It only has the sugars from the fruit itself. And for us, we love that. But we buy this every single week. It's Odyssey brand, and it is made in Wisconsin. So I'm letting you in on one of my little cooking secrets. Snack as you go on something healthy, and then you can taste test a little bit less. Delicious yogurt. Anyway, we are almost done with our apples, and then I'm going to melt some butter in the microwave, and then we'll come back together. We're going to go ahead and get things put together. I did, and I always do, I butter the bottom of the casseroles. I don't know that it's completely necessary because there's butter in this, but it's just how I've always done it, which is such a funny thing because I have so many of those. Um, so we are going to combine our oats first with 3 cups of oats. This is for the larger one. I'm doing half of a cup of brown sugar and then 4 tablespoons of butter melted. So we'll make sure that's enough. And a little bit of cinnamon. I got a bunch of spices out to show you. I love Penzeys. We've talked about that before. So I'm going to do a teaspoon of cinnamon in this, and then a teaspoon of apple pie spice. You can use whatever spice you want, as I said, but I really love apple pie spice from Penzey's. There are so many, everything that Penzey's makes, in my opinion, is fantastic, but there are so many that have just been a part of the taste of our family for decades. I know that sounds weird, but such a good spice company. So apple pie spice we've talked about. They also have a pie spice, which is fantastic. Cake spice. Oh, so good. And then baking spice. I love Penzey's store because they have little containers where you can smell all of the stuff that they sell. And to me, so much of cooking is the smell. So you can choose whatever spices you like for this, but those are my go-to spices. So we're going to mix this really well, and we'll see if we need more butter or not. As I said earlier, if we need more butter for the ones that are the healthier version, I'll just be using water. But for this one, since we will share it, we will want the butter to be pretty well incorporated. So yeah, I can tell that that's not going to be enough. So I'm going to do 4 more tablespoons of melted butter. This is looking better. So you can almost tell, I said before, that so much of cooking involves all of the senses. You can tell as the color changes on the oats that things are pretty well incorporated and that your ratio is pretty good. So the butter will the butter and sugar will cook together, and that's what will make your topping a little bit more firm. So you want your ratios to be okay for this. So that should be just about perfect. And now to our apples, I'm going to add another 1/4 cup of sugar. And then I always add more spice to the apples as well. A lot of people don't. I definitely do, especially for the one that I'm doing for myself, because I want to have less butter and I'll have more taste if I have more spices. So you're getting your taste from the spice and not from the fat. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with either, but so this is so easy. We just mix all of this together really well, and then we're going to pour it in our casserole. We are cooking this at 350, kind of a low and slow, and it'll take about an hour for the apples, at least for this one. The smaller ones obviously will cook a little quicker, but it'll take about an hour for your apples to be really soft, and you really want just that soft texture in your apples and then the crispy texture on the top. This is such a good dessert. Again, this is a staple in Western Pennsylvania, and I really would like to know if it's a staple everywhere. Hi, Bo. I know. Bo's very happy to be home, but he'd be happier to be home if I gave him apples. He already did get one little piece, but once the sugar goes on, I don't like to do that. So anyway, putting the apples in. I don't know. We may end up needing a bigger container, but for now, I think this will be good. Whenever it's cooked, it cooks down so far. I'll show you once we get the topping on what it looks like now. And whenever it comes out of the oven, it'll be half of this. So if we can do what we can to make everything fit here. I love this casserole dish. I love Corelle casserole dishes. This one is the old one. I do have a couple that were my mom's that I really cherish, but I think we'll be able to make this work. I will put a tray in the oven underneath this just in case anything bubbles over. I typically do that when I'm cooking lasagna or anything in a casserole dish that there's a danger of seeping out. So I think as this cooks, it'll be okay. I'm going to try to keep a lot of the topping in the middle, but we'll see. I also don't want it too thick. So there we go. This one is ready. I wish that you could smell this because it just smells like fall. Oh, wow. I'm such a sense cooker. I don't know if that's like the best terminology, but I do cook a lot with my senses. Okay, so next we're going to do the same thing in this little one. We're going to put a quarter of a cup, no, 2 tablespoons is what I used for that, or 1 tablespoon. And then I'm using a quarter of a cup of brown sugar. And then for this one, I'm just going to kind of eyeball. You can put as much spice as you want in here. And as I said before, I really want this to be a really potent flavor. So I'm going to put a nice amount of spice in this. And I just realized that I need more cinnamon. Spices that I use a lot, like cinnamon, I don't usually use the Penzeys for that because I use it in such high volume. So we're going to mix this together. Oh, I don't think I mentioned that the oats that I used for this is 1 cup. And I'm seeing now that a quarter cup for the sugar probably could have even been done in half. And that's quite all right. So we're going to put more spice in the apples and then do the same thing where we're going to put this in here and then we'll cook them. I'm pretty excited for this. Okay, for the sugar for the apples, I think I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of sugar there. And then we'll mix them pretty well and then put them in the little casseroles. These really are pretty cool. Fiesta Ware really is a great brand, and they're absolutely adorable. Okay, so we'll just pour some of the apples in here, and I don't know, we might have enough to do another one. Nah, I'll just do this. Okay, cool. So then we're gonna cover this with our, I actually didn't end up adding any water to this, mainly because I had a pretty nice amount of brown sugar. And I know that as that cooks, it's going to bubble and it's going to make it kind of crispy like I want. So, cool. I'm pretty excited. Okay, so we will go ahead and put these in the oven for 1 hour, and then we'll taste them together. And we'll probably ask Matt to taste them too, because this is his thing. You ready to taste test?
I am.
Okay. So, should be good. It's going to be pretty warm.
Oh, it's hot.
Yeah, I was going to say it's pretty warm.
Blow notes everywhere. Good job as always.
Really good. I made this one low fat. There's only 1 tablespoon of butter in this, but I don't think that the flavor is sacrificed at all.
No, the flavor's delicious.
Yeah, you can barely tell. We're writing notes.
There we go. Perfect.
I am famous for my labels here. Am I not?
Yes.
Like writing on ingredients for a recipe.
Right, so if I label that for Matt, I get the whole thing.
You get the whole thing. But anyway, this is really good. The apple crumb is crispy, which is the name Apple Crisp. And the apples are soft. So you can tell that it's golden brown, but another way you can tell that it is done is because when you open the oven, you can hear bubbling. And whenever it starts to bubble, then it's done. Well, not starts to, but whenever it's bubbling, it's done. So yep. There you go. I really hope you make this. This is comfort food for me. So.
It is. I enjoy it. It's a good snack.
Yeah, it is, especially when you make it healthy this way. So, yep. Enjoy.